It's girly IRL, yeah. It's girly IRL.
Izzy from Back Honey, what's up? Thanks for coming on Girly IRL. This episode is part of the Damsel in Distress series. This one is based off of this song I wrote called I Don't Like Myself, which is about comparing yourself to others, judging yourself, kind of like self-loathing, I guess, and then also social media being a beast. I guess my first question is, do you compare yourself to others?
Pre-internet world, I don't think I was someone that had much comparison generally, because I didn't know enough people like me and I didn't see them in my immediate world. I felt like I was just like in my own unique lane, and so that was kind of a nice place to be, because I could just like do my own shit, follow my own like direction, and not feel so like overwhelmed as I do now with like everything that everyone does. Like, I go on the internet now and I feel like every artist that I look at is sort of like a self comparison, and now I've gone the other way. I'm like obsessively like sort of exposed to the people that are doing exactly what I do every day. It's making me more neurotic and more insecure, and thinking that I'm not as good at it as I should do.
I definitely feel that. Now I just sort of see myself as, yeah, someone who compares themselves to loads of other people, but I don't think I used to do that. I definitely didn't do that when I was like a kid anyway. I think maybe when I was a teenager I did it a bit, but social media has just pretty much created this like habit. In a way, I guess, because of the algorithm, like it's designed to make you compare yourself to others. Like that's literally what the whole system is, of likes being there as a measure of popularity, putting like real-time stories up and then being able to see who watches it. It feels so normal to us now, but sometimes I think about it, I'm like, this is such an alien social experiment.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, I find it really interesting that you say that you're somebody that struggles with self-comparison, because I always look at you and think, oh my god, you're like one of those people that just beelines for who they are, and like has this like insatiable appetite to do something different, stuff that I couldn't even think of. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the creativity and the like the way that you stick so strongly to who you are and so authentically is like so admirable. And like I remember seeing you around like years and years ago when you were like this tiny artist, like a like little baby artist, and like you're still the same person as you were then, but you're just like on steroids, and you've just like worked hard, and it's like really rewarding to see that you have stuck by it. But then also for me, as someone that feels like I compare myself all the time, it's actually quite nice to hear from you that you do that as well. Like, I know everyone does it to some extent, right?
Yeah.
I think on the stories front, I made like a personal account the other day on Instagram, and I realized that it made me more insecure, because I could see all the other bands that were like watching, which people who wouldn't let us know that they were watching Black Honey go and do it on Izzy B. Phillips.
Going back to when you said, oh, I'm surprised that you compare yourself to, it's so funny because I think everyone gets so convinced that I'm the only one who's like online comparing myself. Everyone else is just out there living their life. And even like for me, like I try make my social media really like honest, and you know, if I'm having a bad day, I'll post I'm having a bad day. But even then, sometimes I look at days where I've posted photos where I'm like, woo, or whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, I felt so shit that day. And it is weird how you even end up kind of posting a lie because you're in denial too. I definitely do that sometimes. Oh, I love Girly today, but I hate Millie today.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? There's such a performative element to social media, and like the fact that you're in a down day, and even in that down day you're like, I still need to perform, is insane. It's completely insane, and that's just the world we live in now. It's like, if you want to be truthful, you have to show your down days, but also, who on their lowest hour is like, I'm going to show this to the world? Like, it's crazy. And it's like, also everything I do now, I feel like I have to film it, and I used to always judge people for that. I'd be like, you know, put your phone away, like live your life. Like, now I'm like, this is value, this is like some kind of resource that I'm going to need to use at some point, or recycle into a video somehow.
Yeah.
When does it end? Like, what how much are we going to have to give? Like, they just keep inventing more platforms and more places that we have to stretch ourselves. I'm like on the edge of just being like, it's too much, like I just need to quit it.
I definitely feel that so hard. I definitely felt that a lot when TikTok came along and there was all this pressure. Okay, so you've been building your Instagram now for years, but that doesn't fucking matter anymore because there's this new app and all these people who you've never heard of are getting famous on it overnight. So you have to do that too now. And it doesn't matter if your music is shit or great or whatever. How many TikTok followers do you have? That made me feel so like each social media app is just pulling a different part of me, and like I don't have enough time in the day. Do you take off days?
When I go on holiday now, me going on holiday is my phone is off. I could have a holiday at home, but the idea for me is that like there is no social media, there is no messaging. I just feel so much better. I feel less clouded. I feel less like stressed. I have like less tension in my jaw. And same as you, like at what point are you supposed to write songs? You know, and you're like, you're gonna make fucking TikTok videos, make 5 stories a day, post reels now, have like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a Line account, we do Twitch, we do streaming. It's like YouTube videos. Like at what point is this like insane? And like where when do you write songs? Like this is my question with you as well. You're so good at it. You're someone that I literally look at and I'm like, the stamina that you have for the social media, I'm so deeply admirable of it. Because it's working for you as well. Well done. Someone somewhere is making a lot of money out of all of the content that we're making.
Mm-hmm.
Have you signed up to the TikTok Creator Fund yet?
I have, yeah. And after the first week, I was so excited to go check how much I'd made, and it was like, you've made 19p. I was like, yeah. Okay, maybe I've made like £40 or £45, but like, that's nothing.
Millions of views, like, oh my god. I literally was like, this is a fucking scam. They made us get how many thousand views till we could warrant this, and now we're getting paid 2p every day. I think I get paid 2p a day.
It's weird because in a way, they know that we're going to do it anyway. And that's when, yeah, I start to feel very controlled by these apps. For me, the object of my comparison has changed as well. I used to compare my body a lot to other people's, and now I'm happy to say I don't do that anymore, but I feel like I mainly compare numbers or like success. What's something that has the ability to make you feel kind of shitty?
Definitely numbers. There's an anxiety that I have when I post anything that it's just gonna bomb. Saying that, I feel like all of my posts bomb now. Like I feel like everything just bombs, and it's like so hard to be like, fuck this, it's actually about writing good songs, this is an important festival announcement that we have to do, so I'm doing it. So there's like, I do have an argument in my brain, and then there's other things where, say a band will get like a tour support that I really wanted, or like they'll get to like work with some insane brand. There's like certain people who get like fashion gigs, and I think, wow, like I would do anything for that. Even like influencers, sometimes I might even look at them and be like, oh, I should be doing something more like that, and then I'm like, what? I'm a fucking musician, like I'm not an influencer. Why am I getting confused? Because I'm consuming all of this dog shit. It's like it's mutating the way that I see the art that I make. That's dangerous, I think. I think the next generation as well are going to have really hard time and have really, like, because if someone that's as strong-willed as you or I, right, is sitting here feeling like we're fucking comparing ourselves, looking at numbers, feeling like failures all the time, and like we're doing really well, like we're doing so well, like some people would kill to like be in a position of you or I. Imagine what like young girls who are like struggling with body dysmorphia, or you know, like with mental illness, or just like general comparisons. Like now little girls don't have to compare themselves to being the hottest girl in the school, they have to be the hottest girl in the world. We have to be the best singers in the world now, not just the best singers from London. Like, it's just a different league, isn't it?
Social media like promises to be this thing where it puts you on a worldwide stage and you can reach people across the globe with your music and whatever you're doing. But it also has the ability, I mean, for me, it makes me feel like a teeny tiny fish in a massive massive pond and it makes me feel sometimes so invisible. But then the thing you were saying about feeling anxious about your posts like bombing, it's because Instagram and all the apps just fuck with the algorithm so much. One day your post might be seen by half your followers and might do super well, or make it to the explore page or something, but then another day Instagram will be like, no, fuck you, we're going to show your picture to 2% of your followers, and you know, you're going to get 5 comments and you're going to feel like shit today. It is so frustrating because me and you are badass women doing our own thing, setting our own paths, and still it literally has the ability to define how I feel that day. It's so fucked. Sometimes I get embarrassed to even admit that too.
I felt embarrassed to say, like, yeah, I do care about numbers. I like to think I don't. I definitely do. And also, if numbers didn't count, the content that I would be posting would be way more aesthetically pleasing for me. Like, I want to post like mood boards and I want to post like vintage aesthetic vibes all the time. But I feel like I have to like aggressively post photos of my face to meet this algorithmic need. That also is draining. I'm not the sort of person that feels that comfortable with pushing my face all the time. So some days I just want to post like, hey, here's my favorite horror movies or like whatever. And I still do because it's important to me, these things. Yeah. But they bomb as much as my festival posters do, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, because that's more important to you and the mood boards and the tour announcements. That always has blown my mind, that like announcing an actual show, announcing something that is about real life interaction with fans hardly ever even see those posts because they just like disappear into the ether of like Instagram.
Also, like, then Instagram likes you making money or like redirecting people's websites. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't want you to do that. They want to have like content that's just like for the sake of Instagram, that's like taken on your phone that day.
It's so weird. It's really nice to talk to someone in the same industry who feels the same things too, because I think it can be really isolating. It shouldn't be, but it definitely feels embarrassing to even talk about it sometimes. Like, if I talk to friends who don't use social media for their job or their work, if I talk to them about how, yeah, like, I didn't get this many likes today and it actually made me feel like shit. Sometimes, even though they try to understand, they just don't, you know? And that's hard as well.
They talk about it in this book that I was reading, where apparently if you want to be a psychopath and mass manipulate somebody, you basically give them loads of compliments every day, and then one day you withdraw the compliment, and then it sends the person that you're talking to into like a control system where they're basically like being manipulated by you. This is how psychopaths manipulate people. They like give them compliments and then they pull them away. And I definitely, like, when you say that, like, that's kind of like what I'm hearing is like someone that has been like trained in validation consistently by the internet, and now it's like being pulled away feels debilitating. But also, what matters is like real people, and what matters is like real human connection. And I think that you do have that with people, and I think that the meaning and importance of the connection that you have with people flies higher than any sort of shallowness of just likes on a post that day. It's about making music that helps teenagers get through the hardest times, or you being that person that fucking stuck to your guns, like, no matter what, and like being tested and still fucking showing up every day and giving this life your best.
But it's tough. I'm sure you feel it too, you know. You do loads of work on yourself, but then some days you just feel like, I want to give up and I want to go pick strawberries and throw my phone away. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, like for me it was like this lockdown, right? For me it was like social media, people just like going on talking about how much self-care and growth that they were having, like in the sort of tempo change of lockdown. I just felt like fucking shit. I felt like I was stagnating. I felt like I wasn't growing at all. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't wash my hair. Like, everything was hard for me to fathom because I was just like, my self-esteem was so low. I hadn't written a song in a year, basically. I was doing all this promo and all this press and stuff, but I hadn't been writing. But everyone from the outside was like, oh, it looks like you're smashing it with the album. And in my head, I was like, I fucking don't even know if I can write songs anymore. When that battle is something that you do every day, as well as like normal person battles, you almost realize that, like, to be a musician and to wish this for yourself, you have to be like borderline masochistic. You have to have some kind of deep self-hatred to like volunteer yourself to like art.
I definitely feel that. I feel like we're the same person. all the time I wish I could see myself from other people's perspective, because I know that it would be way kinder. If you could choose to see yourself from someone else's perspective for a day, which person would you choose?
I was gonna say my ex-boyfriend, but then I was like, maybe not, now we're like not together. I'd say my friend Craig, who is like one of my best friends, and he is a creative, so like he has like a mutual like respect artistically for me, and also maybe sees me in a positive light because he works in fashion, so he always like books me for stuff and works with me. So I feel like he'd be a great person. The question still terrifies me because in my head I'll be like, I would live inside their head and discover everything that's like even worse about me that I don't know.
There's this line in a TV show, anything horrible that you think about me, I've already thought about myself. So your opinion doesn't scare me anymore. I'm my worst critic. Often I feel like I wish I didn't have the ambitions that I did. I wish that I didn't have this calling to do music so bad, because I just really would love to not have social media, do something really day to day, really present, because music, it's so hard to be in the present. You're always kind of having to think ahead, or you can find yourself being stuck in the past. The time where I feel most in the present is playing shows, actually.
100%. As performers, the way that we feel alive is by performing. Like the way we connect and process our surroundings is by performing.
Usually I ask people to say 5 words about themselves, but today I want you to give me 5 kind words to describe yourself.
That's so much harder.
Yeah, because a lot of the time people are like, to describe me, I'm clumsy, I'm an overthinker, and I'm like, 5 kind words.
Passionate, adventurous, intelligent. I have a big heart, and I think I'm creative.
Fuck yeah. What 3 tips do you have for self-care and self-loving?
I have a capacitor on my apps that turn off after a certain time each day. That is the biggest recommendation I can never give for self-care to anyone living in today's world. My second act of self-care is I love gardening. The little seed in the ground, and it is like the smallest investment you will make for yourself. And what a metaphor. Like, it grows. Like, it literally grows roots first, and then it grows into something beautiful. It doesn't show its growth for a while, but when it does, that is a reward that I find so paradoxically related to what we're trying to do with ourselves. My third act of self-care is I really love going for walks with my dog.
Dogs are therapy.
Cheaper than therapy as well, probably.
Thank you so much for coming on Girli IRL. I would take a Polaroid of you and put it on my wall, but we're going to do it virtual style. So I'm going to take a screenshot. So are you ready? Thanks for watching Girli IRL. Subscribe to the audio podcast so you never miss a podcast again.